This is the brand new Olympus O-MD E-M1X, a brand new line of OMD camera. Now this model, as you can see, has a slightly bigger design. Well, it's actually pretty similar in size to the EM1 with the grip on, and here you've got that integrated vertical grip. Now that means you've got 2 batteries in there, which dramatically extends your shooting time, and it gives you more options for how you're going to be taking photos. On top of that, it's got better ergonomics with embedded dials that feel lovely to use and very intuitive, not to mention helping to improve weatherproofing, as well as ISO, bracketing and bulb control buttons all on the body. Now it's important to mention that we were using a pre-production model, so it's important to just remember that the images and the video came from a pre-production model. Now in terms of image quality, it's got a 20.4 megapixel sensor, and it's also featuring 2 TruePic 8 processors, which makes it exceptionally fast. It means you can shoot 10 frames per second in continuous mode in RAW with a buffer of 287 shots. And because of those 2 processors, you can still scroll through images or use the menu while the camera is still writing to card. It's worth mentioning as well that it does have 2 card slots. Now in terms of image stabilization, this thing is awesome. You can get up to 7.5 stops of image stabilization when you pair it with one of the lenses that has Sync IS, and that means you can shoot at much slower shutter speeds than you would normally be able to get away with. It means you can get some really nice, smooth video footage as well. Now speaking of video, it'll shoot 4K at up to 30 frames a second. It'll shoot Full HD 1080p at up to 120 frames a second, so you can get some of that lovely buttery smooth slow motion. It's got great dynamic range, especially when you use it with the log mode, which gives you better dynamic range and leaves more room for color grading in post. And it had surprisingly good low light capabilities. Now the video performance on this camera is actually really impressive, and combined with the great image stabilization, it makes it easier to shoot handheld as well. So let's talk about autofocus. Now this camera has a lot of ways to set up your autofocus so you can get it just how you want it to be. It's been designed with customizability and usability in mind. And in addition to that, it's got an intelligent subject detection autofocus, which works incredibly well. It's able to detect things like people, cars, motorbikes, planes, trains, all kinds of different things, which makes shooting in different scenarios really easy. You can also customize the size and the shape of your autofocus points depending on what you're going to be shooting and how you want it to be set up. This gives you a really great way of setting up your camera for specific situations, and it's really easy to set up. Now, we never had any issues with autofocus. It was really fast and snappy. The intelligent autofocus worked really, really well. It was able to work out what we wanted to focus on. Setting up the customizable autofocus points worked really well as well. We had no issues, and this is one of the better cameras we've used for autofocus. There's a high resolution mode where the camera will take multiple shots and combine them to create one high resolution picture. So for example, in handheld mode, you can shoot these multiple shots and combine them into a 50 megapixel picture, or on tripod mode, you can combine them into an 80 megapixel picture. Now that means that you're able to get more detail out of your shots. So for example, if you're shooting a nice landscape, you can get some really great detail out of those shots. And it also gives you a few more options for things like cropping in post. There's a live ND feature to allow you to get some slower shutter effects without an external filter. The E-M1X is absolutely packed full of features and great spec, and combine that with the rugged construction, it's a great tool for a pro or enthusiast. Now we're going to try and get our hands on this camera again as soon as possible to try and bring you a more extensive review with lots of lovely image samples and video samples, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Make sure to hit the like button if you liked the video. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.